In many ways, Dollywood feels like the near-complete park. It has a great coaster lineup, excellent theming, plenty of shows for the non-thrill seekers, and a healthy dose of family attractions to keep everyone happy. Now, with that said, I do think the park is missing a few key attractions to take this place to the next level. In this video, I'll be discussing 3 new attractions that Dollywood needs to bring to their park. Number 1. A dark ride attraction. The biggest thing I think Dollywood is missing is a good dark ride. The park does have Blazing Fury, an indoor roller coaster of sorts, though it's starting to show its age and won't compete with the amazing dark rides we see today. There is also Mystery Mine, another roller coaster, but this is a part dark ride, part roller coaster. Unfortunately, the intensity level is a little too high for a solid dark ride that would entertain a wider range of audience. The style of attraction that I'd be looking for is something like Ghostwood Estates at Kennywood, but to a more grandiose level. A fun shooter attraction is always a crowd pleaser, and I think the guests that visit the park regularly would be excited with this addition. My new dark ride would be placed over in the Country Fair section of the park. If they have to remove a couple rides to make it work, I'd be okay with that. Honestly, these flat rides feel a little out of place with the rest of the park. The theme could still stick with a country fair setting, make it one of those corny carnival games, you know, like Toy Story ride, but with a little more country flavor. If that seems too much of a copycat, my second option would have it themed to a stage train and/or coach robbery. Have it as if you are on a stagecoach or train fighting off the criminals who are trying to rob the train. With Dollywood Express located nearby, this might be the better fit for the two options. Number 2. A hyper roller coaster. Dollywood feels like it's one coaster away from having a true knockout lineup. Taking a look at their collection, they have a few looping roller coasters with Tennessee Tornado, Wild Eagle, and Mystery Mine. Next, there are the 2 wooden roller coasters, or should we say 1 wooden roller coaster with Thunderhead and 1 hybrid roller coaster, Lightning Rod. Finally, it's their family coasters. We have Fire Chaser Express, Dragon Flyer, Blazing Fury, and Whistle Punk Chaser. To break it down a little further, we have 2 launching roller coasters, a wing coaster, a suspended coaster, indoor roller coaster, and a partially indoor roller coaster. The obvious coaster that is missing from the park is a hyper roller coaster. This style of roller coaster would really round out the collection. Lightning Rod is really the only dedicated airtime roller coaster, so another airtime machine in the form of a hyper roller coaster would really mesh well. I think Dollywood has a few great locations to choose from. First, it would be traveling out alongside the railway. The station could be located inside Wildwood Grove, which would be great foot traffic for this section of the park. The only negative to this option would be how the coaster affects its surrounding. A roller coaster traveling alongside the train might ruin the adventurous journey that the train provides as you travel outside the park. The second option, keep the station in the same place, but send the roller coaster into the parking lot area. The negative to this option, the roller coaster could become visible from the road, which is currently a nice feature of Dollywood, having the park tucked back in the valley barely visible from the outside world. My final option, have the station start inside the Country Fair section of the park, sending it up past Lightning Rod. Country Fair is really a dead spot, so a great hypercoaster finding a home over in this section of the park would really bring this area to life. Now, this is also the same section of the park where I have the new dark ride going, but honestly 2 new rides over in this area of the park would be fine. The next big choice is deciding on a manufacturer. The go-to answer would be B&M, but with a B&M Hyper at Carowinds, which is 3 hours away, and Six Flags Over Georgia, which is also 3 hours away, it might be wise to go with another manufacturer. My first choice would be Mach Rides. Herschend has worked with this company recently with Time Traveler, so building a hypercoaster by the same manufacturer would make sense. Just imagine something similar to DC Rivals coming to the States. This concept would also jive with the rest of Dollywood's coaster collection. If you take a look at their collection, every roller coaster is unique and bringing something new to the table. The same can even be said about their sister park, Silver Dollar City. A typical hyper roller coaster wouldn't be creative enough, but the designs that we've been seeing by Mach Rides have been out of the ordinary, especially when comparing to the other hyper roller coasters in the States. My second option would be Intamin. Their recent work with Hyperion and the new for 2021 Kondaa has reinvigorated my love for this manufacturer. Some of the rides are known to have some serious maintenance issues, but with a less complicated roller coaster like a hypercoaster should be a more reliable attraction. In the end, I think Mack rides would be the best candidate. Going off their relationship with Time Traveler makes good business, and I would love to see what they can come up with. As for the location of this Mack hypercoaster, I'd have to say the station inside Wildwood Grove and sending it out into the parking lot area is the best option. It might be visible from the road, but a good portion of the ride would still be tucked away behind the trees. Number 3, an Axis roller coaster. I'm a coaster enthusiast, so obviously my main additions to any park would be more roller coasters. An Axis roller coaster by SNS Worldwide is something brand new, and as to this recording of this video, no park has purchased this option yet. We've seen Herschend jump on the unique original concepts like Wild Eagle, Time Traveler, and Lightning Rod, so building an Axis coaster wouldn't be too far out of the norm, plus it would closely resemble Time Traveler, an extreme spinning coaster at Silver Dollar City. As to where to place this roller coaster, I think the obvious choice would be where the former Mountain Slidewinder resides. The coaster could use the buildings there as the station and travel up into the mountainside. My second location would be in the Country Fair area, and it would be very similar to the hypercoaster option by having it traveling up alongside the road towards Lightning Rod. As for the theming, I think the steampunk theme would fit this ride nicely, just like Time Traveler. So to recap, the 3 new attractions I want for Dollywood is a dark ride. With all the options that I presented today, this is the one that they need the most. Hypercoaster. This might be more of a want than a need for the park, but if done right, this attraction should appeal to a wider range of audience. And finally, an Axis roller coaster. Honestly, the park could live without an Axis coaster, but I do think it would jive with their coaster lineup. If the park really doesn't want to invest in a new prototype attraction, then I say go with a heavily themed B&M diver, build it in the same place where we would have the Axis roller coaster. Well, that concludes the 3 attractions that I think Dollywood needs. What do you think of my list? Let me know what you want to see coming to Dollywood in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please click on that like button. As always, don't forget to subscribe, that way you'll continue to get great content coming your way by Xtreme Thrills.